servicing short-term lines of credit over the medium term. Also, no new debt was contracted, nor any disbursements associated with the government-guaranteed SOE debt. Madam Speaker, at the cost of servicing central government debt is projected, the cost of servicing central government debt is projected to decline from 51.68 million in 2025, amortization 39.63 million, interest 12.05 million, to 50.4 million in 2026, amortization 39.44 million, and interest 10.96 million. This represents a decrease of 2.48%, 1.28 million, due to the continued reduction in the debt stock and reduction in debt servicing costs associated with lower variable interest rates on external debt, which currently stand at 5% compared to 5.6% at the end of 2024. My government remains committed to managing these costs prudently to ensure continued fiscal sustainability. Madam Speaker, under the Framework for Fiscal Sustainability and Development, FFSD, the government of Anguilla must maintain debt levels within 3 stipulated borrowing limits. The net debt to revenue ratio must not exceed 80% of recurrent revenue. The debt service to revenue ratio must not exceed 10% of recurrent revenue. Liquid assets must be sufficient to cover at least 90 days or 25% of recurrent expenditure. Madam Speaker, preliminary projections for the end of 2025 indicate full compliance with these borrowing limits. Although full compliance will be achieved, some notable improvements are highlighted compared to fiscal year 2024. They are: the net debt ratio is projected at negative 0.31% compared to 14.61% at the end of 2024. The debt service ratio is projected at 9.23%, improving from 11.31% in 2024. The liquid assets ratio is projected at 87.39%, approximately 315 days, compared to 89.7%, approximately 323 days in 2024. Madam Speaker, by the end of 2025, Anguilla's debt to GDP ratio, a key measure recognized by regional partners, is projected to stand at 19.91%, a marked improvement from 23.62% in 2024. This places the government of Anguilla 40.09 percentage points below the ECCU target benchmark of 60%, reflecting our continued commitment to sound fiscal management. Madam Speaker, let me explain what these numbers mean in straightforward terms. When we talk about the net debt ratio improving, it means the government will have more financial assets on hand than it owes in debt. In other words, Anguilla will be operating in the positive, owing less than we own. The debt service ratio tells us how much of our annual recurrent revenue is used to pay back loans. At just under 10%, it means that for every dollar collected, less than 10 cents goes to debt repayment. That's a strong signal that we are managing our obligations, responsibly freeing up more funds for schools, healthcare, roads, and the everyday needs of our people. The liquid assets ratio measures how much cash we have compared to our annual spending. At nearly 88%, or roughly 315 days, shows that we are maintaining strong cash reserves. Shows that we are maintaining strong cash reserves to meet our daily obligations and manage any unexpected challenges without disruption. That is real resilience, Madam Speaker. And finally, our debt to GDP ratio, which is a key regional benchmark, is projected at under 20%, far below the ECCU's 60% target. This tells our people and our partners that Anguilla's finances are stable, sustainable, and well managed. Put simply, Madam Speaker, these results show that Anguilla is standing on firm fiscal ground. We are paying what we owe, saving for the future, and protecting the stability that allows us to keep investing in our people. Debt servicing costs, particularly principal repayments, totaling $39.44 million in 2026, are projected to decline slightly over the medium term and remain manageable. Projections under the MTFP and the MTDS suggest full compliance with all borrowing ratios under the FFSD framework by the end of fiscal year 2025 and sustained compliance thereafter. The ratios are on a favorable path due to the projected revenue growth generated during the period. This is attributed to the continued revenue performance, particularly domain name revenues, over the forecast period. The MTEF projects overall deficits after amortization for the first 2 years of the medium term. The government plans to address these financing needs by sourcing the needed funds from the consolidated fund and utilizing the reserves liquid assets. This strategy will temporarily reduce the liquid assets ratio, but the government is projected to remain in full compliance with the fiscal benchmarks over the medium term. Madam Speaker, the fiscal review reflects the discipline and resilience of our public service and our people. Yet, as a new administration, we cannot be content with stability alone. The fiscal picture I have outlined tells a story not only of discipline, but of potential. Stability is not our destination, it is our launching pad. This budget is therefore not simply an account of what has been managed, but a blueprint for what must now be built. The time has come to transform stability into opportunity, to translate sound management into visible results, and to give new meaning to responsible leadership in action. Madam Speaker, there is no greater duty of any government than to keep its people safe, safe in their homes, secure at their borders, and confident in the strength of the institutions that guard their freedom. In 2026, this administration moves with purpose to fortify Anguilla's security, not through fear, but through foresight. We are modernizing the way we protect our island, investing in technology, people, and systems that give Anguillians confidence in their tomorrow. Our borders are being reimagined for the future. We will roll out a state-of-the-art border management system, bringing electronic travel authorization and risk management tools that make our ports safer, smarter, and more efficient. Key immigration services will move online so that travelers and residents alike experience speed, transparency, and professionalism. Behind these systems are our people, trained, competent, and focused on service. We are building a border management model that is secure, digital, and deeply people-centered. But security is not only about technology. It is about the people who wear the uniform and bear the weight of public trust. The overall allocation for the Royal Anguilla Police Force will rise from $16.49 million in 2025 to $20.54 million in 2026, an increase of nearly 25%. This significant investment demonstrates the government's unwavering commitment to strengthening national security through people, professionalism, and preparedness. Our Royal Anguilla Police Force will continue to grow with a renewed emphasis on local recruitment and training. We are advancing programs in partnership with the UK government to ensure that young Anguillians can now access professional policing instruction right here at home, building both capacity and confidence in the next generation of officers. We are not just training police, we are shaping role models, community leaders, and guardians of public trust. This expanded budget will support new positions, both in police officers as well as the emergency response team and enhanced training. It also maintains limited support from UK armed response officers whose presence continues to provide specialized expertise and emergency response. But Madam Speaker, while we value this partnership, our direction is clear. The intention of this administration is to transition toward full self-reliance, strengthening the force from within so that external assistance becomes a bridge, not a dependency. Through knowledge, transfer, leadership development, and steady recruitment, we are preparing our officers to assume full responsibility for the security of this island. This is a path of confidence and nationhood. Investing in our people, empowering our institutions, and ensuring that the guardians of Anguilla's peace and order are proudly and capably Anguillian. New radar and surveillance systems will strengthen the monitoring of our coastline and territorial waters, guarding our borders, and preserving the peace and safety our communities depend on. The Joint Emergency Services Call Center will expand its reach, integrating probation monitoring, coastal surveillance, and island-wide CCTV coverage. These are not just upgrades in equipment. They are upgrades in how we protect our people through smart systems that work together in real time for the safety of all. At Her Majesty's Prison, rehabilitation will remain our focus. In 2026, the newly completed prison workshop will open its doors to vocational and trade training programs, giving inmates a second chance to gain skills that help them rebuild their lives and contribute positively to society. When we invest in rehabilitation, we invest in safer neighborhoods and a safer Anguilla. Madam Speaker, justice is a foundation of good governance. The new legal assistance policy will ensure that no person is denied their constitutional right to a fair trial simply because they cannot afford representation. Under this policy, most individuals appearing before the High Court will have access to legal counsel. This is fairness in action, justice that serves everyone equally. The Attorney General's chambers will also be strengthened, with 4 new legal positions dedicated to improving the prosecution of criminal matters. These investments mean that cases will move faster, justice will be more accessible, and public confidence in the system will continue to grow. Beyond law and order, Madam Speaker, national security means readiness. Following Anguilla's redesignation as tsunami ready and the successful completion of our new comprehensive disaster management strategy, we have reaffirmed our position as one of the most resilient small island jurisdictions in the region. This is a tremendous achievement and one we intend to build on. In 2026, we will continue to strengthen disaster preparedness and enhance our early warning systems, because true security is not just about defense, it's about resilience, the capacity of our people, our institutions, and our island to adapt, recover, and rise stronger after every test. Madam Speaker, security is not a slogan. It is the steady work of leadership, of investing wisely, planning, and building institutions that last. In every sense, we are moving from reaction to readiness, from dependence to discipline. Anguilla's safety will not rest on chance or charity, but on the strength of our own people and the systems we continue to build. This government will stay the course, firm, focused, and unflinching in protecting our island and safeguarding the future of every Anguillian. Madam Speaker, security may keep us safe, but it is people who move us forward. And so, as we build resilience, we must also build capacity in our health, our education, our families, and our future. At the heart of this budget and at the heart of this administration is one conviction. When our people flourish, our island prospers. Every decision, every program, and every reform under this government is guided by a single principle, that people are not a cost to be managed, but an investment to be multiplied. In 2026, our focus remains clear: to build a stronger, healthier, more compassionate Anguilla, where education, wellness, and opportunity are the pillars of shared progress. Madam Speaker, true prosperity begins with good health. And through the Ministry of Health via the National Strategic Plan for Health 2025 to 2030, we are transforming how care is delivered, making it more modern, accessible, and people-centered. This year, we will expand the number of nurses, paramedics, and emergency responders while strengthening leadership across the system through new coordination and management roles. Investments of more than $13 million in 2026 will upgrade the MRI suite, ambulance bay, operating theater, laundry, and psychiatric ward, supported by new ambulances, upgraded digital systems, and improved medical waste management. And we are also expanding compassion. The Junior Shield Medical Program, launched this year, now provides free care for all children under 6, and the Medical Shield Program will be broadened this year to include dialysis patients, extending relief to persons in need of life-saving treatment who reside in Anguilla. Our nurses, the backbone of our healthcare system, are being re-empowered. The appointment of a chief nursing officer, the intended creation of a nursing council, and the introduction of the nursing cadet program will restore pride and professionalism to a calling that sits at the very heart of public service. Madam Speaker, this is how we move from treatment to transformation, building a health system that heals, uplifts, and ensures that every Anguillian can live with dignity and hope. But health is more than hospitals. It is the well-being of families, the strength of communities, and the care we show for one another. Through programs like Potential Unlocked and Social Upskilling, the Ministry of Social Development is reaching young people at risk, pairing mentorship and skills training with wraparound social support that turns vulnerability into opportunity. The Family First program continues to equip parents and caregivers with the tools to raise resilient, emotionally secure children, reinforcing the home as the foundation of national development. And because mental health is just as critical as physical health, we will continue to strengthen psychological care, recruiting both a clinical psychologist and a substance abuse counselor to support schools, families, and justice-involved individuals across our communities. We are also modernizing how we keep our island safe and clean, expanding waste collection, improving recycling, and upgrading inspection and food safety standards to protect public health. A cleaner, greener Anguilla is not only a healthier island, but also a more competitive one. These are investments not just in services, Madam Speaker, but in people, in dignity, and in second chances. Our education reforms remain the bedrock of this investment in people. The completion and commissioning of the technical block at the Albina Lake Hodge Comprehensive School will expand technical and vocational programs, preparing young people for the modern workforce. The Inspire program will reach every primary school, ensuring equal access to quality early learning while the WISE campus continues to expand alternative education opportunities. A new sports hub will rise at Campus Q, offering improved facilities for youth and community engagement. And with the rollout of the Education Management Information System and the launch of a national e-learning platform, we are reimagining how our children learn, connect, and grow in the digital age. Madam Speaker, we are also ensuring that no child goes hungry. The school meals program will continue to provide nutritious meals in every public primary school and will now extend to the Valley Primary School, supported by a new modern kitchen facility. We take this opportunity to express our sincere gratitude to the Richard Schultz Family Foundation for its continued partnership and generosity. Their steadfast support has strengthened this vital program, helping us to nourish young minds, promote wellness, and give every child the foundation they deserve to learn and to thrive. And through the introduction of a new digital system for social protection, families in need will have faster, fairer, and more transparent access to assistance, ensuring that no one falls through the cracks. Madam Speaker, every community deserves a pathway to dignity. Construction will continue this year on the Zenaida Haven Juvenile Rehabilitation Center, a modern facility that will provide comprehensive psychosocial and rehabilitative care for youth. We will also introduce electronic monitoring technology to strengthen rehabilitation and reduce recidivism, helping individuals reintegrate safely and productively into society. This is what compassion looks like in practice. Justice with mercy, structure with support, and opportunity with accountability. Madam Speaker, from our hospitals to our classrooms, from our clinics to our kitchens, this budget invests in what truly builds a territory, its people. We are strengthening families, empowering youth, expanding access to care, and protecting those who need us most. This is not charity, it is strategy. Because when our people rise, Anguilla rises with them. Madam Speaker, no jurisdiction is defined only by its buildings or its budgets. It is defined by the strength of its people, their spirit, their stories, and the pride that binds them together. That is why this government continues to invest in sports and culture, not as afterthoughts, but as engines of wellness, identity, and national pride. In 2026, we take another bold step forward, guided by the National Sports Policy towards a healthier, happier Anguilla. More than 1.5 million will be dedicated to the construction of a modern track and field facility, a world-class space where our athletes can train, compete, and dream right here at home. The Blowing Point basketball court will also be completed, creating another space for recreation, youth engagement, and community connection. And Madam Speaker, 2026 will mark a truly historic milestone, the formal recognition of boat racing as Anguilla's national sport. This long-cherished tradition is woven into the fabric of our identity, a symbol of unity, courage, and the indomitable spirit that defines our people. But our investment in sport is also about creating opportunity through partnerships with regional athletic bodies and educational institutions. We are expanding access to scholarships, coaching certification, and athletic exchanges. Public-private partnerships will also be explored to modernize sporting facilities and grow sports tourism. opening doors for our young people to showcase their skill and discipline beyond our shores. Madam Speaker, the same passion that propels our athletes also fuels our creative and cultural energy. The arts, festivals, and heritage of this island are not just reflections of who we have been, but they are the blueprint of who we are becoming. Through the Festivals Development Commission, we are modernizing how our festivals are managed, promoted, and monetized, ensuring that creativity translates into opportunity. And I must pause here, Madam Speaker, to acknowledge the Minister of Culture, whose passion and persistence are driving this reform full steam ahead. In fact, the first reading of the Festival Commission Bill was taken in this very house earlier today. We look forward to an even bolder, brighter Anguilla Summer Festival next year, one that celebrates our culture and showcases the best of who we are. We are also advancing the creation of the National Museum, a space that will preserve our story while igniting new ones. It will serve as a cornerstone of heritage, education, and entrepreneurship, where tradition and innovation meet. These investments in sport, in culture, in creativity are not side notes to development. They are central to it. They nurture pride, strengthen unity, and remind us that our greatest wealth is not found in numbers, but in our people, in their spirit, their skill, and their unshakable belief in this little island they call home. Madam Speaker, every reform, every investment, every decision in this budget comes back to one truth. Our people are the plan. We are building an Anguilla where healthcare is modern, education is accessible, work is dignified, and culture is celebrated, where every family can stand on the strength of opportunity, and every child can believe that their future begins here. This is not abstract policy. It is a daily work of progress, and we will continue to do it, not with spectacle, but with steadiness, not for headlines, but for history. This is what moving forward together truly means. People as our foundation, purpose as our direction, prosperity as our shared reward. Madam Speaker, as we invest in our people, we must also open the doors of opportunity. The next phase of our journey is about transformation, converting resilience into productivity and stability into growth. This administration is shifting Anguilla from a recovery economy to a producing economy, where innovation, enterprise, and technology create new value at home and across our borders. Madam Speaker, when we invest in people, we build the foundation for every other form of progress. But investment in people must be matched by the creation of opportunity. The next stage of this budget focuses on transforming that human potential into economic strength, building the systems, industries, and innovations that drive sustainable growth. The test of any economy is not how it performs in comfort, but how it adapts in change. And this administration is determined to build an Anguilla that does not merely endure global shifts, but shapes its own direction through innovation, sound management, and the steady empowerment of its people. In 2026, our focus is clear: to strengthen the pillars that sustain growth: food, water, land, technology, and tourism, the foundation of a resilient and opportunity-driven Anguilla. At the heart of a self-reliant island lies the ability to feed its people. For too long, Anguilla's dependence on imports has left us vulnerable to supply disruptions and rising global prices. This budget changes that. In 2026, We will bolster food security by strategically investing in sustainable agriculture and modern food production systems. We are expanding our support for local farmers through advanced technologies like recirculating aquaponics and controlled environment agriculture. These innovations are not just buzzwords. They are practical solutions that will maximize local production, enhance the quality of our food, and empower our producers to adapt to harsh climatic conditions. The construction of the National Abattoir will mark a turning point, giving livestock farmers the capacity to meet local demand, strengthen value chains, and reduce costs for households. This is how we build true resilience from the ground up, with our own hands and our own harvest. Madam Speaker, food security remains one of this government's top priorities, not as a slogan, but as a serious economic mission. At the end of this month, while in London, I have arranged several meetings with potential partners, suppliers, and distributors to strengthen our food systems and supply chains. These discussions will explore new technologies, sustainable inputs, and strategic sourcing options that can help stabilize prices, expand production, and ensure reliability across our food network. We are pursuing every opportunity to make Anguilla more self-sufficient and less exposed to external shocks. Madam Speaker, I turn now to water. Clean and reliable water is not a privilege. It is a necessity, and it is a right. In 2026, we are allocating significant funds for the Water Network Redevelopment Project. This is a comprehensive modernization of our most vital resource. This major capital project includes extensive pipe relays to replace aging infrastructure, advanced leak detection initiatives to eliminate wastage, and the construction of a new modern home for the Department of Water Services. Every drop matters, Madam Speaker. And through these reforms, we are ensuring that every household, every farmer, and every investor can depend on a safe, stable water supply. Our long-term prosperity depends on the responsible management of our land and natural assets. That is why this budget directs new resources to sustainable land and environmental management, reinforcing our commitment to resilience and green growth. We are purchasing modern equipment and technology to reduce, recover, and recycle waste. A key component of this is the transformation of the Corridor facility into a sustainable waste management site for the future. These measures are not only environmentally sound, but are also economically strategic. By strengthening our regulatory framework and promoting a circular economy, we are creating green jobs, fostering innovation, and future-proofing our island for generations to come. Sustainability, Madam Speaker, is not an expense. It is an investment in the very soil from which our progress grows. Madam Speaker, few small islands can claim a global footprint in the digital economy, but Anguilla can. Our .ai domain name has become more than an address on the internet. It is a symbol of how intelligence, governance, and innovation can converge to create lasting value. Revenue from domain name registration continues to exceed expectations, reflecting the growing global demand for artificial intelligence and the steady professionalism with which Anguilla manages this unique asset. Madam Speaker, revenues from .ai domain registrations are projected to contribute nearly 40% of total non-tax revenue, a remarkable example of how a small island can create global value through good governance and foresight. But our task is not simply to collect revenue. It is to manage it wisely. The message is clear. AI is not just a revenue stream, it is a nation-building tool for the digital age. And through prudent management, we will ensure that this opportunity uplifts every Anguillan, not for a moment, but for a generation. Madam Speaker, if .ai represents the future, tourism remains the heartbeat of our present. It is the industry that connects our creativity, our hospitality, and our natural gifts to the world. Tourism remains one of the greatest expressions of Anguilla's resilience, creativity, and global identity. It is not merely an industry, it is a way of life, a living connection between our people and the world. Our ambition is clear: to move beyond traditional tourism, building a model that is sustainable, inclusive, and proudly Anguillan. Our development strategy places people at the center. We are investing deeply in human capital, innovation, and service excellence, ensuring that the men and women who represent our destination are trained, empowered, and positioned for success. The government will continue to expand training, mentorship, and certification programs across hospitality, the creative industries, and the fast-growing areas of ecotourism and wellness travel. When our people rise, the entire destination rises with them. Tourism today is no longer just about beautiful beaches. It is about authenticity, community, and purpose. That is why we are embedding sustainability at the heart of every initiative. We are weaving together the threads of the orange, blue, and green economies, creating opportunities in culture, marine activity, and environmental stewardship that strengthen livelihoods while preserving what makes Anguilla unique. The Ministry of Health, Tourism, and Sports partnerships with regional and international agencies will continue to unlock access to technical expertise, funding, and technology to keep Anguilla at the forefront of global tourism trends. Our Anguilla Tourist Board, the ATB, will continue to drive this transformation with bold strategic marketing. In 2026, the ATB will sharpen its focus on key source markets in North America, the UK, and Europe, while deepening its digital presence to reach the next generation of high-value visitors. The board's vision, the totality of the Anguilla experience, captures what sets our island apart: the warmth of our people, the quality of our product, and the authenticity of our purpose. Every campaign, every partnership, and every investment will tell that story to the world, that Anguilla is more than a place to visit, it is a place to belong. Madam Speaker, this commitment to excellence extends to how we welcome the world. The completion of the Clayton J. Lloyd International Airport Terminal represents a defining step in that journey. This new facility will transform how travelers experience Anguilla with faster processing, greater comfort, and increased capacity for regional and international flights. Work will also begin on the runway and apron expansion, enabling us to accommodate larger aircraft and new routes, opening the door to more opportunities for trade, investment, and tourism growth. We are also expanding our sea access through improved ferry terminals and upgraded port facilities, ensuring that the journey to Anguilla, whether by air or sea, is seamless, efficient, and world-class. Together, these investments are transforming how the world connects us, strengthening our competitiveness in an increasingly demanding global travel market. Anguilla's tourism is entering a new era, one rooted in sustainability, powered by innovation, and driven by our people. We are building a tourism industry that reflects who we are: confident, creative, and ready to claim our place among the best in the world. Madam Speaker, the next chapter of Anguilla's development must be about transformation, moving from recovery to productivity, from reliance to resilience. For years, public investment has carried the weight of growth. The time has come to unlock the full power of private enterprise, innovation, and technology. Through digital monetization of our .ai domain, green infrastructure, and strategic reforms, we are laying the foundation for a diversified economy, one that earns more, spends wiser, and provides opportunity for every Anguillian to prosper. Madam Speaker, economic growth cannot stand on ideas alone. It must rest on the strength of the foundations that support it, the infrastructure that connects us, the energy that powers us, and the digital systems that move us forward. This is the mission of the Ministry of Infrastructure, a ministry that is quite literally building the Anguilla of tomorrow. As we continue this journey of resilience, shared purpose, and people-centered development, I am reminded of the words of Henry Ford. If everyone is moving forward together, then success takes care of itself. That spirit of collective progress guides our work. It is embedded in the People's Plan, a vision of empowered people, clear purpose, and prosperity for all Anguillians. For Madam Speaker, the Anguillian dream must be supported by the infrastructure we build. I turn now to A and C access development. Airport redevelopment stands as a vital pillar in Anguilla's journey toward inclusive growth and transformation. In 2026, we will celebrate the completion of the expanded aircraft apron, an essential complement to the new terminal building. This new space will allow the simultaneous parking of multiple large aircraft, improve turnaround times, and increase operational efficiency. It is not just about infrastructure. It is a launch pad for opportunity. In tandem, the runway extension project will commence in 2026, a bold step that will expand our capacity and unlock new opportunities for international airlift. Already we are seeing the benefits of strategic route development with direct services to Boston, Newark, and Baltimore, connecting Anguilla to key metropolitan gateways. These investments affirm our shared purpose to make Anguilla more connected, more competitive, and more accessible to the world. As this work advances, we will also upgrade the Anguilla Fire and Rescue Service training facility to ensure that our officers remain certified to international standards and prepared to protect both residents and visitors. At the same time, we continue to move forward with the expansion of the Blowing Point Ferry Terminal, including the construction of an additional finger pier, new parking facilities, and improved traffic flow for taxis, rentals, and private vehicles. These upgrades will reduce congestion, enhance passenger safety, and modernize our operations, all shaped through community consultation. Work will also begin on upland developments at Road Bay Port, including new warehousing, yard paving, and port access roads to strengthen logistics, improve efficiency, and position Anguilla as a model for smart, sustainable port management in the region. I turn now to our road network. We are investing $14 million to rehabilitate and develop Anguilla's road network, a critical step in connecting people and communities, supporting commerce, and improving everyday life. For too long, deteriorating roads have burdened our residents and businesses. This ambitious program, supported by a pavement engineering consultant firm, will address years of deferred maintenance and ensure a modern, durable, and safe road system. In 2026, work will focus on key routes, including the Raphael T. Lake and A.R. Lake roads. These are the roads connecting the airport to the roundabout by the Central Polyclinic, as well as the stretch from Mary's Bakery to the Albina Lake Hodge Comprehensive School Campus Q, improving school access and easing congestion. These projects will create jobs, improve connectivity, and deliver a tangible difference in the daily lives of people. We are continuing the transformative step to enhance the delivery of public services through the construction of 2 fit-for-purpose, energy-efficient government office buildings. These modern facilities will bring key departments together under one roof, creating a centralized hub that promotes collaboration, accessibility, and efficiency. Designed with smart technologies and green features, they will symbolize a modern government that serves its people with openness, professionalism, and care. Madam Speaker, solar and wind energy are not just environmentally sound, they are economically smart. In 2026, we will ensure that the people of Anguilla benefit from a cleaner, cheaper, and more secure energy mix. From solar installations at the Princess Alexandra Hospital to the rollout of electric vehicle charging stations and solar-powered streetlights, our energy transformation is already underway. Most notably, ANLEC will install a 12-megawatt solar plant, a landmark initiative that will significantly boost national energy independence and reduce electricity costs for households and businesses alike. These initiatives are environmentally responsible, socially empowering, and aligned with our national energy policy, integrated resource resilient plan, and electric vehicle transition plan. They represent progress that is green, grounded, and geared towards prosperity. Madam Speaker, the future of government is digital. In 2026, we will accelerate the transformation of public services to make them faster, more transparent, and more responsive to our people. This includes major investments in ICT infrastructure, strengthening the government's data centers and cybersecurity systems, expanding network capacity, and deploying new e-government platforms. We are also developing low-code applications to improve departmental efficiency and integrating CCTV and access control systems that support national security. DITES will continue to build capacity across ministries through targeted digital training, ensuring that technology serves both the public officer and the public they serve. Madam Speaker, our ambition goes further. Working with the Public Utilities Commission, we will create a policy and a legislative framework to accelerate transformative technologies from 5G and the Internet of Things to satellite connectivity. These investments will enhance reliability, expand access, and ensure that every Anguillian can participate fully in the digital economy. Even as we strengthen the physical foundations of progress, our roads, our ports, our energy and digital systems, we must also strengthen the institutional foundations that uphold good governance and public trust. Because no matter how impressive the infrastructure is, true development depends on the integrity, efficiency, and commitment of the people who serve within it. That is why this government remains firmly focused on building a modern, accountable, and people-centered public service, one that delivers results, honors the public's confidence, and stands as the backbone of democracy. Madam Speaker, at the heart of good governance is trust. The confidence of our people that their government manages public resources with fairness, discipline, and purpose. This year, the Ministry of Finance took bold steps to strengthen that trust. Through the launch of Anguilla's first ever Citizens Budget Survey, we invited our people to share what matters most. They told us clearly security, education, youth, and health. And Madam Speaker, we listened. Those very priorities shape this budget. Transparency will remain our hallmark. We will soon publish the second edition of the Citizens Budget, followed by quarterly fiscal reports. And we will continue to publish public debt bulletins so that every Anguillian can see how resources are raised, spent, and safeguarded. We are also reforming how government earns revenue. Our Inland Revenue Department and Customs Department continue to modernize operations, investing in digital systems, risk-based audits, and improved customer service to make compliance easier and enforcement fairer. These upgrades mean stronger collections, better efficiency, and ultimately more resources to invest back into our economies, our communities. At the same time, our Treasury Department is continuing the work for the upgrade of the government's payment and financial management system. This reform will modernize how we process payments, manage cash flow, and reconcile accounts, introducing stronger controls across ministries and departments. It is about building a government that is digital, responsive, and accountable. Alongside this, Madam Speaker, we are advancing procurement reforms and performance-based budgeting, ensuring that every contract, every project, and every program delivers clear value for money. And looking ahead, we are laying the groundwork for the establishment of a sovereign wealth fund, a long-term investment vehicle to secure and grow national assets for future generations. Technical assistance has already been requested from our development partners to support its design and implementation. And I am pleased to report that this support has now been confirmed. This is what stewardship looks like: transparent, responsible, and forward-looking. It is how we build a government worthy of the people's trust and an Anguilla ready for the opportunities of tomorrow. Madam Speaker, strong finances alone do not build a strong territory. It is people who do. The integrity of our public service, the accountability of our systems, and the efficiency of our institutions are what turn resources into results. That is why this administration continues to invest in good governance, effective leadership, and a modern, people-centered public service, one that delivers with competence, compassion, and pride. At the heart of every successful government is a public service that works, one that is efficient, accountable, and responsive to the people it serves. I have made it clear that this administration expects no less. In 2026, we will continue the work of building a modern, people-centered public service, one that delivers results, manages resources wisely, and treats every interaction with the public as a measure of our credibility. The Office of the Deputy Governor will lead this charge through the implementation of the 5-year Public Sector Reform Agenda 2025 to 2030. This agenda will modernize the general orders, introduce a fair and transparent compensation framework, and launch a people-focused strategy that redefines how government engages with the public. These reforms are not about bureaucracy, they're about trust. They're about ensuring that when persons walk into government offices, they are met with efficiency, respect, and professionalism. But, Madam Speaker, motivation and efficiency begin with fairness, with the assurance that those who serve are respected and properly rewarded. That is why this administration has set aside resources in the 2026 budget for anticipated public service compensation adjustments. The review is well advanced, and we expect the first draft of the final report by February 2026. Once complete, we will move deliberately and responsibly. Fiscal discipline remains our watchword. Any salary adjustment must be fair, affordable, and built to last. And I have no doubt that my team in finance will measure twice before we move once. But, Madam Speaker, I want to pause here because behind every balanced budget are the people who make government work. Our public officers have shouldered enormous responsibility, often under difficult conditions. Many have served without a meaningful salary increase since 2008 and only began to see restoration in 2024. They have worked in spaces that are cramped, that are uncomfortable, and other less than desirable conditions. Yet they show up day after day to keep this island running. To our health teams, I owe a special word of thanks. You have held the line through pandemics and recovery and structural change. You give of yourselves long after others go home. As we continue the process of ensuring fair compensation, I want you to know that this government sees you, values you, and remains committed to ensuring that recognition translates into action. Madam Speaker, we must continue to make public service a place of pride, a place that attracts capable, qualified professionals who see this work not as a stepping stone, but as a calling. And yes, that means fair pay, but it also means renewed discipline, pride, and accountability. Because with every right comes a responsibility to show up, to serve with excellence, and to treat every interaction with the public as an act of trust. So to our officers, I say thank you for your patience, your professionalism, and your perseverance. But Madam Speaker, fairness alone is not enough. Motivation is about more than compensation. It is about conditions, leadership, and the opportunity to grow. It is about giving our officers the tools, the training, and the environment they need to perform at their best. We are not only rewarding work done, we are building capacity for the future. In 2026, more than $6 million will be invested in new and ongoing training initiatives across the public service and wider community. This includes leadership and management programs, technical skills development, and professional certifications, ensuring that our people are equipped to serve with competence, confidence, and creativity in a changing world. Madam Speaker, I now turn to constitutional reform. As we strengthen our institutions, modernize public administration, and rebuild trust in the machinery of government, we must also look to the framework that governs us all, the Constitution itself. In the year ahead, this administration will continue the careful and inclusive work of constitutional reform, a process aimed at ensuring that Anguilla's supreme law reflects the maturity of our democracy, the values of our people, and the evolving realities of our governance as a British overseas territory. Our relationship with the United Kingdom has long been one grounded in partnership and mutual respect. As Anguilla continues to grow in confidence and capacity, it is both appropriate and necessary that our constitutional arrangements evolve to reflect that progress, strengthening local decision-making, clarifying the respective roles of the governor and the elected government, and ensuring that our institutions remain transparent, accountable, and fit for purpose. The reform process will be people-centered, consultative, and deliberate. It will engage persons from every district along with our diaspora constitutional experts, and the United Kingdom government. This will not be changed for its own sake, Madam Speaker, but thoughtful evolution guided by the principles of self-determination, democratic governance, and partnership within the wider British family. In this way, Anguilla will move forward not only with stronger institutions, but with a constitutional foundation worthy of the progress we have made and the future we intend to build. Madam Speaker, these are not promises written on paper. They are priorities backed by numbers. Every reform, every initiative I have outlined finds its reflection in the allocations that follow. Our blueprint for development is clear, and our priorities are set. What follows now is a financial plan that will make it real, the 2026 budget and the figures that chart the course for the year ahead. This budget, Madam Speaker, is firmly anchored in the principles of the Fiscal Responsibility Act, ensuring that every dollar spent is matched by discipline, foresight, and measurable results. Madam Speaker, this 2026 budget, the first crafted entirely under this administration, represents a deliberate and forward-looking step in Anguilla's ongoing journey towards sustainable development, economic resilience, and shared prosperity. In line with the theme of moving forward together, people, purpose, prosperity, the budget process embraced a disciplined and inclusive approach that prioritized fiscal responsibility alignment with national development goals, measurable performance outcomes, and importantly, the voice of the people captured through our first citizen survey. The outcome, Madam Speaker, is a budget that affirms government's commitment to prudent fiscal management while investing strategically in the sectors that drive growth, protect our people, and strengthen the foundation of national progress. It embodies our vision for a stronger, fairer, and more caring Anguilla, one where fiscal discipline supports human development and where every dollar spent reflects purpose, compassion, and responsibility. For the fiscal year 2026, the total revenue projected at approximately $597.4 million, representing a 6% increase over the 2025 forecast. Recurrent revenue is expected to reach $595.9 million, compared to $560.4 million forecasted outturn in 2025, driven by the continued recovery of key sectors, improvements in compliance, and sustained activity in tourism, services, and construction. Tax revenue remains a cornerstone of our fiscal architecture, with an overall forecasted earning of $286.2 million. The government anticipates continued strong performance across major categories. Taxes on goods and services are estimated at $184 million in 2026, reflecting a 7.3% decline compared to the projected outturn of $198.37 million in 2025, a 12.5% reduction relative to the original 2025 estimate. The moderation in collections primarily reflects the full-year impact of the reform of the goods and services tax structure, which took effect in August 2025. This adjustment, while lowering nominal receipts, is expected to increase the financial burden on households, is expected to ease. Let me repeat that. This adjustment, while lowering nominal receipts, is expected to ease the financial burden on households while preserving fiscal stability and strengthening fairness within the tax system. Taxes on international trade and transactions are projected to maintain a steady contribution of approximately $60.8 million. Payroll and workforce taxes through the Universal Social Levy will reflect consistent employment levels, forecasting revenue collections of $26.1 million for 2026. Property and income taxes are expected to produce revenue earnings of $8.3 million. Non-tax revenue continues to strengthen as public service delivery becomes more efficient and diversified. Sales of goods and services will remain the dominant contributor, with an expected revenue forecast of $303.2 million, notably including revenues from the .ai domain, which continues to deliver significant value as a key national asset and demonstrate credible long-term viability. Additionally, collections from property income, fines and penalties and transfers are projected to remain stable throughout the fiscal year of $6.5 million collectively, a slight decrease from the previous year projections. Madam Speaker, grant inflows are expected to moderate in 2026 with a contribution amount of $1.5 million. Funds will be sourced from the UK government in support of Anguilla's water production and distribution network investment plan. This support is indicative of the responsiveness to Anguilla's needs and priorities, as this is perhaps one of the most important areas of focus on our agenda, and in that will provide a much needed, reliable, efficient, and sustainable water supply across all our communities. External partners remain critical allies in funding capital development, renewable energy, and infrastructure modernization. Continued collaboration with development partners underscores Anguilla's credibility and commitment to sound fiscal governance. Madam Speaker, turning to expenditure, the 2026 budget reflects the government's continued commitment to sound fiscal management and the efficient allocation of public resources. Total recurrent expenditure for 2026 is estimated at approximately $397.8 million, with allocations strategically directed toward the delivery of essential services and the implementation of the government's development priorities. The major expenditure categories remain personal emoluments and goods and services, which together account for the largest share of the recurrent budget. Personal emoluments, projected at $153.4 million, reflect the government's ongoing investment in its public service, the dedicated men and women who ensure that the public service remains motivated and adequately resourced to deliver on national priorities. Goods and services, estimated at $164.6 million, encompass the operational and maintenance costs essential to sustaining service delivery, infrastructure upkeep, and program execution across ministries and departments. Retirement benefits are projected at approximately $18 million. Interest payments, estimated at $10 million, demonstrate the government's sustained effort to manage public debt responsibly. These interest payments continue the downward trajectory, demonstrating our sustained effort to reduce borrowing costs, safeguard fiscal space, and direct more resources towards the priorities that matter most: education, health, security, and infrastructure. Finally, current transfers amounting to approximately $50.6 million include contributions to statutory bodies, regional institutions, and essential social programs that directly benefits our people. Madam Speaker, this expenditure framework ensures that the government remains focused on service delivery, value for money, and fiscal prudence, balancing the need for operational efficiency with the strategic investment required to build a more resilient and prosperous Anguilla. The total capital expenditure for 2026 is projected at $233.36 million. This is ambitious, but our guiding principle is unchanged. Our people remain at the heart of everything we do. Madam Speaker, while the larger projects with significant allocations, including the Airport Development Project, $87 million, the Road Development Program, $14 million, Land Acquisition for Development, $40.5 million, and the Government Office Accommodation Project, $19.5 million, represent major national investments essential to driving economic growth and sustaining long-term progress. It is equally important to recognize and highlight other investments that also demonstrate our commitment to the national strategic priorities. People-focused projects are the true measure of our development, improving daily lives, strengthening communities, and ensuring that growth is both inclusive and meaningful. The phased improvement of the National Water Distribution Network stands out as one of the most important areas of focus, with plans to start in the Long Path to Sandy Hill and the Little Harbor to Jeremiah Gums Highway intersection with Blowing Point Road areas. This long-term investment will deliver a reliable, efficient, and sustainable water supply to all communities across Anguilla. And this is a vital foundation for public health, economic activity, and resilience. The expansion of the national CCTV network to cover all schools and additional strategic locations represents a crucial next step in enhancing public safety. Combined with the expansion of the Integrated Joint Emergency Services Control Room to combine the monitoring of 9/11 operations, coastal surveillance, and electronic monitoring, these initiatives strengthen our long-term security, enhance coordination, and provide peace of mind for residents and visitors alike. Madam Speaker, this disciplined approach ensures that fiscal policy remains both credible and sustainable, even as we advance our development priorities. It recognizes that stability is not achieved by restraint alone, but by purposeful investment, by using today's resources wisely to secure tomorrow's growth. The 2026 budget projects a recurrent surplus of $198.09 million, which will serve as a critical buffer for capital investment and debt management. Total amortization is estimated at $39.44 million. The overall balance, inclusive of capital spending and amortization, is projected to reflect a deficit of $73.23 million, consistent with the government's medium-term fiscal plan. To support the expenditure, we anticipate the need to draw down approximately $73 million from reserves, ensuring that we maintain critical investments while preserving fiscal resilience. The Ministry of Finance has been allocated $140 million in the 2026 budget, comprising $138.9 million for recurrent expenditure and $1.1 million for capital expenditure. The recurrent expenditure allocation represents 34.9% of the recurrent budget and a 15.7% decrease from the prior year. This significant decrease is due to the transfer of the health portfolio from the ministry. There is an increased allocation within the Ministry of Finance as a central allocation of contingency funds to support potential salary adjustments following the outcomes of the public sector compensation review. I turn now to key areas of new expenditure. New allocations in Treasury total $1.31 million, reflecting prudent investment in the expansion of government's insurance coverage. This includes expansion of the CRIF coverage to include the Coast Fisheries Risk Facility as well as coverage for new government vehicles and professional malpractice coverage for our health professionals. The devastation witnessed in Jamaica following Hurricane Melissa is a timely reminder of the value of such foresight. These investments reinforce our commitment to responsible risk management and to using insurance as a key instrument of fiscal resilience. Madam Speaker, within the total capital allocation of the ministry, provisions are made for the purchase of essential furniture and equipment required for the continued operation of government departments. Funds have also been set aside as reserves to address unforeseen or unanticipated expenditures that may arise during the financial year, ensuring that government remains responsive and financially resilient. I turn to the Ministry of Social Development and Education. The Ministry of Social Development and Education has been allocated $98.11 million in the 2026 budget, comprising $74.13 million for recurrent expenditure and $23.98 million for capital expenditure. The recurrent allocation represents 18.6% of the recurrent budget and reflects a 2.6% increase from the prior year. New allocations for the Ministry of Social Development and Education reinforces the government's priorities of advancing community well-being, strengthening education delivery, and empowering youth through inclusive and equitable services. Key funding allocations total $0.56 million to support teacher salary adjustments, additional teaching posts, and new curriculum officers for the rollout of the reformed curriculum. A further $0.60 million is dedicated to teaching and learning materials, alongside $0.30 million to enhance early childhood programs. To improve health and social protection, allocations are provided for a clinical psychologist and drug counselor. Key areas of capital expenditure include $12 million towards completion of the technical block at the ALHCS and planning for the development of a sports hub to facilitate various sporting activities. $1.3 million towards minor education projects, including Project Inspire, with the replacement of student and teacher laptops and the upgrade of WISE workshops. $9.5 million towards construction of Zenada Haven, purpose-built residential facility. $0.55 million towards construction at the Lansing Bowl Cultural Center to complete offices for the Festivals Committee and offices for the Department of Youth and Culture. Collectively, these investments strengthen education, mental health, and community resilience, advancing Anguilla's human capital development and social inclusion goals. In the Ministry of Infrastructure, the Ministry of Infrastructure has been allocated $170.5 million in the 2026 budget, comprising $33.42 million for recurrent expenditure and $137.05 million for capital expenditure. The recurrent allocation represents 8.4% of the recurrent budget and a 23.9% decrease from the previous year. The decrease primarily relates to the shift in portfolio subjects, such as tourism, which was transferred to a different ministry and which included the allocation for the Anguilla Tourist Board. New recurrent spending for the Ministry of Infrastructure, Communications, Utilities, Housing, IT, and e-government services continues to advance the government's priorities of infrastructure, modernization, renewable energy development, and digital transformation. Funding includes $0.21 million for new leadership positions to strengthen project delivery and regulatory oversight. and investment in the capacity of the Ministry of Infrastructure. This reinforcement ensures that as we build, we do so with discipline, transparency, and technical excellence, delivering projects that meet the highest standards of quality, value, and public accountability. Additional allocations include $0.80 million for consultancy services in digital strategy and IT modernization. Significant resources are also directed toward information systems and cyber security resilience, with $0.59 million for CCTV management, $0.18 million for ransomware prevention, and additional allocations for data recovery and system upgrades. New resources are provided that will also strengthen technical staffing and emergency response capacity for the Anguilla Fire and Rescue Service, including the recruitment of 6 new firefighters and 1 sub-officer. A further $300,000 has been allocated for grants and contributions to advance initiatives which relate to the ministry's broad mandate. We have allocated $19.5 million for government office accommodation. In 2026, upgrades to existing offices will continue, and construction will begin on the first 2 of 4 planned 4-story buildings. These facilities will centralize government operations, improve public access to services, and create modern, energy-efficient spaces that reflect the professionalism and pride of our public service. The road development program continues with an investment of $14 million to complete the Jeremiah Gums South Hill Link Road and advance works in key areas, including Sandy Hill and the Valley. This program will not only improve safety and connectivity, but also stimulate economic activity and enhance the daily lives of our people. The airport development project will focus on completing the new terminal building and starting the runway and apron expansions, positioning Anguilla to handle increased airlift and larger aircraft. Other key initiatives include $0.4 million towards planning and installation of solar PV systems at the Princess Alexandra Hospital and solar streetlights across major public areas, reinforcing our commitment to sustainable energy and cost efficiency. $0.47 million towards the implementation of digital information systems to modernize and enhance service delivery, efficiency, and security across the public sector, including the Vehicles and Drivers License Management System, which streamlines licensing and registration, and the Border Management System, which strengthens security and efficiency at our ports of entry. Together, these investments reinforce Anguilla's commitment to a modern, connected, and resilient national infrastructure that supports innovation, safety, and sustainable growth. In the Ministry of Economic Development, the Ministry of Economic Development has been allocated $83.02 million in the 2026 budget, comprising $27.9 million for recurrent expenditure and $55.12 million for capital expenditure. The recurrent allocation represents 7.01% of the recurrent budget and a 49.8% increase from the prior year. This increase is driven by the change in composition and refashioning of the ministry, particularly to include the Department of Water Services. Highlights of capital expenditure includes $9 million to upgrade the national water network, expand metering, and strengthen leak detection systems. This will ensure that every drop counts and that every household enjoys a reliable and safe water supply. A further 40.5 million has been earmarked for land acquisition, securing key sites that will unlock the next generation of national infrastructure. Land is legacy, Madam Speaker, and this government is ensuring that it serves the collective good of our people. In agriculture and fisheries, we are investing 1.7 million in modern food systems, including aquaponics and a new multi-species abattoir. Planning will also advance for the establishment of a national fish processing facility to support local producers and strengthen food security. Environmental resilience also remains a cornerstone. 2.2 million has been allocated for planning, equipment, procurement, and the development of a sustainable waste management system at Karatou. This initiative will improve environmental protection and move us toward a clearer, greener Anguilla. Finally, 1.2 million will fund the National Development Plan, which will guide all future investments, policies, and resource allocations with clarity and purpose. Together, these investments demonstrate that this government is building wisely, planning boldly, and acting decisively in the interests of our people and the promise of Anguilla's tomorrow. In the Ministry of Health, Health has been allocated $87.4 million in the 2026 budget, comprising $72.9 million in recurrent expenditure and $14.5 million in capital expenditure. This ministry, newly established under the current administration, represents a strategic alignment of health, tourism, and sports, three sectors that are central to the well-being, resilience, and economic vitality of our people. Key recurrent allocations under the ministry include 1.3 million to strengthen our tourism and financial services engines, increasing subventions to the Anguilla Tourist Board for marketing efforts. We have also listened to the people, responding to the clear call for greater investment in healthcare, with funding to expand healthcare staffing through the addition of nurses and anesthetics, paramedics, and emergency medical technicians, ensuring higher quality care, faster response, and a stronger, more resilient health system. In the health services development, we are investing $13 million to strengthen the quality and reach of care across our island. This includes the rehabilitation of hospital and polyclinic facilities, including the MRI waiting room, operating theater upgrade, and works at the Western Polyclinic, and the purchase of modern life-saving medical equipment. These investments will enhance patient care, improve working conditions for our healthcare professionals, and ensure that every Anguillian can access the services they need with dignity and with confidence. In sports development, 1.5 million has been allocated for the continued upgrade and rehabilitation of national facilities for training, competition, and recreation. These projects will nurture local talent, expand access for our youth, and inspire community pride, ensuring that sport remains not just a pastime, but a pathway for health, discipline, and national unity. The focus will be on the completion of the Blowing Point basketball court, the upgrade of parks and playing fields, and planning work to establish new facilities and areas of recreation. These investments are essential to nurturing athletic talent, promoting sports participation in schools, and inspiring our people to lead active and healthy lifestyles. These investments are directed toward health, education, infrastructure, and community development, areas that deliver tangible benefits to our people and support long-term resilience and growth. The portfolio of the governor has been allocated a total of $52.1 million in the 2026 budget, comprising $50.5 million for recurrent expenditure and $1.6 million for capital expenditure. The recurrent allocation represents 12.7% of the recurrent budget and a 13.2% increase over the prior year. These allocations strengthen national security, enhance governance, and improve the efficiency of public service operations. Key highlights of this allocation include just under $1 million has been allocated for the recruitment of 1 assistant commissioner, 2 inspectors, and 8 constables, strengthening the Royal Anguilla Police Force's operational capacity and visibility across the island. Funds have been provided for 8 new officers in the Joint Emergency Services Center to expand CCTV monitoring and support integrated emergency coordination. Her Majesty's Prison has been allocated additional funds for the appointment of 4 new prison officers. A part-year allocation has been provided for constituency allowances, ensuring that members can continue to engage directly with the people they represent. Madam Speaker, it is intended these allowances will operate under a structured reimbursement framework, ensuring transparency and accountability. Members will be reimbursed for verified expenses, providing the means to engage constituents while maintaining proper oversight and documentation. This is representation done responsibly through a clear system that strengthens the connection between members and the people they serve. Further information on the framework will be shared once the design has been finalized. The EC $1.6 million in capital expenditure is directed towards critical initiatives. We are investing in new tactical gear for the Royal Anguilla Police Force and expanding the Joint Emergency Control Center to bring together 911 response, coastal surveillance, and offender monitoring under one integrated platform. This modern coordinated approach will enhance real-time communication, improve response times, and safeguard communities across Anguilla. At Her Majesty's Prison, work will advance on the construction of a vocational training workshop, creating opportunities for inmates to develop practical skills that support rehabilitation and successful reintegration into society. The installation of a new CCTV surveillance system within the prison compound will also strengthen safety, security, and accountability for staff and inmates alike. These investments reflect our belief that true security goes beyond enforcement. It is about prevention, opportunity, and second chances, ensuring that every part of the justice system contributes to a safer, more resilient Anguilla. This allocation underscores commitment to strengthening national security through real-time surveillance and communication, and enabling faster, coordinated responses to build public confidence. Madam Speaker, the numbers tell a story of prudence and progress, but the real story is about people. It is about the families whose lives will be made easier, the young people whose opportunities will expand, and the communities that will feel the impact of these investments where it matters the most. As we move to close, let us remember that this budget is not about what government spends, it is about what our people gain. In conclusion, Madam Speaker, this budget is not a speech of grand declarations. It is a plan of grounded conviction. It reflects a government determined to turn stability into opportunity and opportunity into prosperity, guided always by the simple truth that progress must serve people. Together, we will build an Anguilla that is steady in governance, strong in purpose, and sure in its direction. People as our foundation, purpose as our direction, prosperity as our shared reward. That is our compass. That is our commitment. And together, Madam Speaker, we will succeed. And as I close, Madam Speaker, I know that in different areas I've been asked questions as to whether or not the civil servants will receive an ex gratia payment during the Christmas season this year. And I'm happy to report that yes, Madam Speaker, the public service will receive an ex gratia payment in addition to all of the other statutory bodies that have been provided for in the past. Madam Speaker, I cannot end without expressing my deep gratitude to the technocrats and staff at the Ministry of Finance. For the last 9 months, I've had the privilege of working with them, and I've found them to be hardworking, capable, professional. And I wish in particular to thank the PS of Finance, Ms. Marissa Hardin-Hodge, and for the entire team. They are extremely talented, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I beg to move. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Member. I do recognize that you've been on your feet, but I do have to invite you to make one more motion. I invite you to move a motion with respect to the debate on the budget.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I actually forgot. I was still on my feet one time. I beg to move that the debate on this Bill for Appropriation 2026 Act 2025 be adjourned to Monday, 19th November at 9 a.m. Oh, sorry, the 17th of November at 9 a.m. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Is there a seconder?
Madam Speaker, I second.
It has been moved and seconded that the debate of this budget be moved to Monday, 17th November at 9 a.m. Those in favor say aye. Those opposed say no. The ayes have it. As I'd indicated before, we will treat the House as the People's Court of Justice, so we are going to save that for the outside. Mr. Smith, I call upon the clerk to proceed with the agenda.
Private members' bills? None. Private bills? None. Other orders of the day?
Are there any other orders of the day? The chair recognizes the honorable member for Valley North.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I wish to put on record my congratulations and my sincerest gratitude to the Honorable Premier on the delivery of this budget address, and also to the Ministry of Finance team for the outstanding work. They have also been particularly gracious to the Ministry of Social Development and Education over the last few months as I keep knocking on their door. So thank you, PS, and thank you for always honoring my messages and calls. Thank you.
Thank you, member. Are there any other orders of the day? I recognize the honorable member for Sandy Hill.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I would like to first of all thank the persons who are in the gallery for coming out this afternoon. It has been a long budget presentation, about 2.5 hours, and so I thank you for sitting through it all. We appreciate it. Madam Speaker, I also want to extend my deepest condolences formally to the member for Island Harbor. He is not present today, but I would have communicated with him personally, but in this honorable house, I want to take the opportunity to extend deepest condolences on the loss of his mom and to all of his siblings and children and grandchildren and the extended family, friends, and loved ones. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Are there any other members that wish to speak? Seeing no indication that there are any other members that wish to speak, I would just wish to place on record that the budget has been adjourned for debate, and that's just so that the public is aware, to Monday, 17th November at 9 a.m. It will likely continue on Tuesday, the 18th at 9 a.m. and conclude on Wednesday with the committees phase starting at 9 a.m. as well. I was going to invite this gallery if they had been well behaved, but I'm now going to take that under consideration. But the public is invited. The debates are going to be robust. They're going to be interesting. They are going to conform to the rules, and we look forward to commencement on Monday at 9 a.m. Clark?
Adjournment.
I invite a member to move for an adjournment of the House. I recognize the honorable member for Sandy Hill.
Yes, thank you, Madam Speaker. I beg to move that this honorable house be adjourned until the 17th of November.
Is there a seconder? Thank you. It has been moved and seconded that this honorable house stands adjourned until Monday, the 17th November. Those in favor say aye. Those opposed say no. The ayes have it. This house stands adjourned.
I'd like for you to turn to the book of Joshua. Joshua is one of my favorite characters in this Old Testament. Chapter 1, right at the very first verse. Listen carefully as I read. Now, after the death of Moses, the servant of the Lord, it came to pass that the Lord spake unto Joshua, the son of Nun, Moses' minister, saying, Moses, my servant, is dead. Now, therefore, arise, go over this Jordan, thou and all this people, unto the land which I do give to them, even to the children of Israel. Every place that the sole of your foot shall tread upon, that have I given unto you, as I said unto Moses. From the wilderness and this Lebanon, even unto the great river, the river Euphrates, all the land of the Hittites, and unto the great sea, toward the going down of the sun, shall be your coast. There shall not any man be able to stand before thee all the days of thy life. And as I was with Moses, so I will be with thee. I will not fail thee nor forsake thee. Be strong and of a good courage, for unto this people shalt thou divide for an inheritance the land which I swear unto their fathers to give them. Only be thou strong and very courageous. that thou mayest observe to do according to all the law, which Moses my servant commanded thee. Turn not from it to the right hand or to the left, that thou mayest prosper whithersoever thou goest. This book of the law shall not depart out of thy mouth, but thou shalt meditate therein day and night, that thou mayest observe to do according to all that is written therein. For then thou shalt make thy way prosperous, and then thou shalt have good success. Have not I commanded thee, be strong and of a good courage? Be not afraid, neither be thou dismayed, for the Lord thy God is with thee whithersoever thou goest. And I'll stop right there. Father, we thank you for the reading of the Holy Scriptures. Let the anointing of God mantle every soul that is viewing this tonight. Everyone under this tent, this is a special service tonight. I claim every sinner and every backslider. Let the anointing of the Holy Ghost destroy the yoke of sin, sickness, disease, infirmity. Let it be a time of receiving. In Jesus' name, and everybody shouted amen, and amen. I want you to know this is a brand new generation. I want to talk to you young folks tonight. This is a brand new generation. Every mother, every father, their carcasses are lying in the sands of the desert. Their parents refused to go into their full inheritance when Moses brought them to this place. God said, turn them around. Because of their unbelief, they will not enter in. And while they turned around and wandered in that wilderness, a new generation came alive. The children of these people, only 2 men from the original ones that came out of bondage, are here in this group. Joshua is the new commander-in-chief. And it's Joshua's job to lead this people in to their full inheritance. God wants you to have everything that He promised. Do you believe that?